Does workplace drama leave you feeling fatigued and angry? Would you like a strategy to help you stop the drama in its tracks and positively impact others? Hi, this is the Better Employee Now. In this video, we're going to talk about drama in the workplace. Drama can be gossiping and complaining, and when it escalates, it can turn into conflict and fighting. You can Google and YouTube search all kinds of ways to deal with drama, but I'd like for you to consider something first. How do you feel about it? And what rule do you have in your life on how to deal with it? So, for example, I have two. One rule is you always value the person and you respect the position. Second is no complaining and no gossip. Just know when you have rules like that, there are people out there that just want to challenge them. In this video, I'm going to go over two real stories, one about gossiping and one about complaining. Now, I'm new to this team that I met, and even though I've been working with these individuals for about a decade, it's the first time we've been in the same physical location to work as a team. The first story is from Mr. Gossip, and yes, he is a real man that came around and would love to just fling in juicy bits of gossip in the midst of our cubicles. And there would be women popping up like prairie dogs, cackling about how the injustice of the all and just mayhem. He would just make things crazy. He would literally step back, physically step back, and just smile and survey the mayhem that he created. It was entertainment for him. That was all. But it was only his entertainment. He took notice that I didn't chime in. So the next day he comes around and he does the same thing, and they react, and I don't, because I have a rule that says, no, I'm not going to play that. So he walks over to me and he says, "Did you hear what I said?" And I go, nothing. Because what he wants from me is what he's got over there. Everybody cackling and complaining. So the third day, literally 30 days in a row, he comes around and does the same thing again. They all pop up and they're all talking. And he looks over and he says, "I know you heard what I said now." And I said, And then he knew that yes, he could have his entertainment, but it wasn't going to be at my expense. And did you know there was a semblance, there was more of a respect from him because I wouldn't fall prey to it. So the second one was complaining. There was a man, again, in a sea of women, and he would do things a little differently because it wasn't about chaos that he wanted. He wasn't in it for the entertainment. He would go to cubicle in very hushed tones and talk about whatever was bothering him. And it was usually how much he was sacrificing for this company, for the team, for, he was a martyr, basically. And he wanted people to know how much he was having to give up and do to get the job done. When he got to me, I heard him say the same thing he already said to the other people in the cubicle. And I listened because this was a first time. It was a precedent, right? It's the first time he's ever talked with me about complaining about a situation. So I listened to him and I gave him one thing that says, "I hear you." I said, "That sounds like a lot of work that you're having to do, and I'm really grateful that you're doing it. But tell me, what can you do today to make it change and how this is happening?" And he just kind of shook his head like, "Oh, you're the first person to ask me that." And he went on his way. A couple of weeks later, he comes back around and he's doing the same thing again to all the cubicles. And he gets to me and he just looks at me and I look at him like, I'm going to ask you questions. He didn't want questions. He wanted sympathy. He wanted to be heard. A few days later after that, he had a problem. And he only came to me. He didn't go around to all the other women and bother them and complain and get them all riled up. He told me his problem. I listened. And he looked at me like, "Okay, give me advice." and I just asked him questions. Because the best thing you can do sometimes is not give feedback or advice. It's to get them started to think what options they know about to have the solution to fix the problem. In both of these rules that I have, you always value the person. You do not break that rule. And the second one is you don't give in to the temptation of gossip and complaining. It does no good. And it definitely doesn't do any good for those who are listening. So even though these were quiet conversations between the two men, the people around me heard how I dealt with them. And very shortly, the amount of gossiping and complaining reduced. Because now it wasn't much fun. I hope this helps you think about how you're going to make rules on how you interact with people at work and maybe even some at home. And if you don't break your rules to yourself, I guarantee you can make an impact, a positive impact on others. So, what's your rule about drama? Comment below. I'd love to see your comments and respond. I hope you'll like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.